Hello and welcome to India Business Hour. On Budget Day, I'm Shireen Bhan. The big headlines from the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman as she presented her 8th consecutive budget. The Finance Minister looks to push growth while staying fiscally prudent. The budget looks to drive consumption by putting more money in the hands of the middle class, only factors in a minor increase in government Capex as it calls on states and the private sector to do their bit. Sticks to the fiscal glide path. The government tweaks slabs under the new income tax regime, effectively makes the income up to 12 lakh rupees a year tax-free, but people earning over 24 lakh rupees will pay tax at 30%. The FM says the changes will see the government losing 1 lakh crore rupees in direct tax revenue this year. The government stays firm on the path of fiscal consolidation, targets a fiscal deficit of 4.8% this financial year, aims to reduce this to 4.4% in the next fiscal. The government aims to achieve 91% of its capital expenditure target this year, hikes the Capex outlay for next year by about 10,000 crore rupees to a little above 11.2 lakh crores. Effective capital expenditure outlay rises to 15.5 lakh crores if grants to states are factored in. The government increases the net tax collection target for FY26 by 10% to over 28 lakh crore rupees. Gross market borrowing increased by nearly 6% to just under 15 lakh crore rupees. The Sensex and the Nifty end flat after a volatile session. Consumption stocks rally. FMCG and tourism counters the biggest gainers, but Capex plays see a sharp decline. The government meets only 66% of the disinvestment target in FY25, scales down the FY26 target to 47,000 crore rupees, says it's collected more than 3 lakh crore rupees as dividends from RBI and state-run firms in FY25. A CNBC TV18 newsbreak has confirmed the budget proposes hiking the foreign direct investment limit in insurance from 74% to 100%, but with the condition that all the premium collected by the companies be invested in India. FM Sitharaman proposes launching 13 new schemes in the budget with a total allocation of 41,650 crore rupees. A new R&D and Innovation Fund for Science and Technology gets the biggest allocation at 20,000 crores. The Urban Challenge Fund gets the second highest allocation at 10,000 crores. The Finance Minister moves to rationalize the tariff structure and address duty inversions and customs duties, removes 7 more tariff rates from the tariff structure, exempts 36 life-saving drugs used to treat cancer and rare diseases, and puts 6 others under a concessional 5% duty. Sectors like critical minerals, textiles, electronic manufacturing, lithium-ion batteries and telecom and leather also set to get a helping hand as the export promotion and protectionism takes center stage. A big impetus to nuclear energy in this budget. The Finance Minister allocates 20,000 crore rupees for small modular reactors, aims to develop 5 indigenously developed reactors by 2032. Startups get a fillip in the budget 2025. The FM proposes enhancing the credit guarantee cover for startups from 10 crore rupees to 20 crore rupees, along with the moderation in guarantee fees for entities in 27 focus sectors. Also proposes a new fund of funds to finance startups with an expanded scope and government contribution of 10,000 crores. We'll also explore a deep tech fund of funds. Bihar grabs the limelight in the budget. Apart from expansion of the Patna airport, the state will see new airports being constructed. Also stands to get a Makhana board, a brand new canal project that will bring water to 50,000 hectares, a National Institute of Food Technology, and a special tourism package.
I am now happy to announce that there will be no income tax payable up to income of 12 lakh rupees. I propose to 1. Remove 7 tariff rates. This is over and above the 7 tariff rates removed in 23-24 budget. The revised estimate of the fiscal deficit is 4.8% of the GDP.
ये बजट एक फोर्स मल्टीप्लायर है। ये बजट सेविंग्स को बढ़ाएगा, इन्वेस्टमेंट को बढ़ाएगा, कंजम्पशन को बढ़ाएगा और ग्रोथ को भी तेजी से बढ़ाएगा।
ये भारत सरकार का बजट है कि बिहार सरकार का बजट है? आपने बिहार के अलावा किसी और प्रदेश का नाम सुना वित्त मंत्री जी के पूरे बजट भाषण में?
The infrastructure is not going for the rest of the country. It's only going towards Bihar because we all know that this year is the Bihar election. So basically, for essence, and Maharashtra has been ignored, and Tamil Nadu, there's not a single word for Tamil Nadu or for any other southern states.
Well, on India Budget Hour, we recap the highlights of the budget for you. This is really the T20 formula that we're going to adopt today, taking you through the key takeaways of the union budget. It's a shot in the arm for the middle class, continuity on Capex, a firm commitment to stay the course on fiscal consolidation. That, in essence, are the big headlines that Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman's 8th consecutive budget has delivered. The big one, the changes to the income tax slab. Annual income of up to 12 lakh rupees has been effectively made tax-free. This is if you opt for the new tax regime, not in the old tax regime. In the new income tax slabs on your screens right now, as you will see, the changes that have been announced there by the government. Now, the government stands to forego 1 lakh crore rupees in revenue. This, it hopes, will spur consumption. Top bureaucrats believe this consumption boost, along with other efforts, will help India's GDP growth rate hit the higher end of the government's projection, which is 6.8%.
This is reflective of our government's trust on the middle-class taxpayers. I am now happy to announce that there will be no income tax payable up to income of 12 lakh rupees.
What we are doing is we are shifting some of the money which the government would have got had we continued with the old rates into the hands of the people. And all that it will do, it will not only spur consumption, it can also have impact on savings or investments. You and me, when you get more money, you may choose to consume, you may choose to save, or you may choose to invest. If you choose to save, somebody else is investing it on your behalf.
Right.
If you choose to invest directly in a house or something, you are the investor directly.
Yeah.
And if you choose to consume, you are basically spurring the demand for several others when you will propel investments by them.
Right.
So in a way, we are putting that money, and that money is going to come back to the economy anyway.
See what the estimated numbers are and what Finance Minister has announced. It means about 1 lakh crore on the income tax side. That will be more money in the hands of the people. How do they use it? Whether for consumption or for their savings or investment, buying house or buying durables, it is their call. Government took a position that yes, it needs to be enhanced and more money in the hands of the middle class. Depending upon where it goes, then multiplier effect will flow from. Economic survey has assumed 6.3 to 6.8 range. Whether it will be at the nearer to the upper limit or the lower limit depends on that how the global situation pans out to be over next year. And there are several measures announced in this budget which will suggest that we can be closer to the next, to the higher limit.
To the higher end.
To the higher limit.
I can't give you a quantitative estimate, but obviously the fact that there is going to be more disposable income in the hands of the public will naturally boost urban consumption. And more than that, I think the confidence it also generates will be an additional kicker as far as the consumption story is concerned. So it all basically, I think, and given that the finance minister delivered more than what people had anticipated, I think the feel-good effect will last for much longer than what it might have been the case otherwise. So I think as far as the estimates are concerned, we have to wait and see how it pans out. But I have a very confident and good feeling that the consumption impact of this will be quite significant.
Which will get you to the higher end of that 6.8% that you laid out as the estimate?
Absolutely. In fact, I would say that now I'm willing to say that the risk is that the number is on the higher side of my range rather than towards the midpoint or the lower end of my range.
Well, budget makers there on the growth projections believe that 6.8, which was the economic survey's range at the higher end, is now within grasp. India's top industry leaders welcoming the tax cuts that will boost consumption. They believe the demand stimulus was much needed to prepare the pitch for the consumption story to flourish, and waved a thumbs up to the budget. Here's the verdict from India Inc.
Relief to the middle class is very welcome, and it's going to certainly provide impetus to consumption and therefore, contributing to the virtuous cycle of investment and employment. And this was much needed at this point of time. Of course, we do expect interest rates also to come off in February to reduce, and that should provide some further impetus. But the larger point of this also would be that this is the immediate relief. But a lot of sectors that have been touched upon in the economy are areas that which are very labor intensive.
Right.
And the economic activity increasing in those areas will have larger impact on employment generation.
Three key takeaways for us. One is a demand stimulus that was much needed and very well delivered. Second, a focus on making India the manufacturing hub of the world. The focus on ease of doing business, on enabling capital goods to be imported at lower rates, and importantly, addressing the duty inversion that we've seen. These are all things that will help make in India in a much more significant way. And the third is inclusive development, which is also something that is important for us as an economy. So on balance, a very good budget. The Capex from a government standpoint stays on course, which is something that we ideally would have liked. And the fiscal discipline stays on course as well.
Well, that's the verdict for corporate India. The government may be stepping out of the crease on tax cuts, but it doesn't want to be stumped out as far as fiscal consolidation goes. It is staying firm on the path of fiscal consolidation and targeting a fiscal deficit of 4.8% this financial year, with the aim to reduce it to 4.4% in the next fiscal. Take a look.
Coming to 25-26, the total receipts other than borrowings and total expenditure are estimated at 34.96 lakh crore rupees and 50.65 lakh crore rupees respectively. The net tax receipts are estimated at 28.37 lakh crore rupees. The fiscal deficit is estimated to be 4.4% of GDP. To finance the fiscal deficit, the net market borrowings from dated securities are estimated at 11.54 lakh crore. The balance financing is expected to come from small savings and other sources. The gross market borrowings are estimated at 14.82 lakh crore rupees.
Very much in line, right? This is following the rhyme and rhythm of previous budgets. I think conservatism is the needed was the buzzword here. The deficit number is very similar to what we thought. 4.8 goes to 4.4. Nominal GDP assumed quite conservatively at 10.1%, though this year is below 10. And the question was, and we had also said that Capex to GDP would remain in line with what is achieved this year. And that's panned out as well. Capex is rising in line with nominal GDP.
The whole exercise, I think, was a balancing act between maintaining fiscal discipline, which the finance minister has put on herself over the last many years, at the same time figuring out a way to bring growth back in. So I think it's been done in multiple different ways. One is the building blocks, is on education, skilling, research, innovation, tech focus. That's very good. Second is picking specific sectors for high growth potential.
And the finance minister also has a game plan on Capex. She expects the government to have met 91% of its capital expenditure target by the end of the year. But it's not slowing down on Capex. The finance minister has hiked the Capex outlay for the next year by about 10,000 crores. Of course, this is lower than what the industry ask was. The number now comes in at 11.2 lakh crore rupees. Officials say the effective capital expenditure outlay, though, rises to 15.5 lakh crore rupees if grants to states are factored in, an indication that states and the private sector will need to do their bit. Take a look.
The revised estimate of the total receipts other than borrowings is 31.47 lakh crore rupees, of which the net tax receipts are 25.57 lakh crore rupees. The revised estimate of the total expenditure is 47.16 lakh crore rupees, of which the capital expenditure is about 10.18 lakh crore rupees. The revised estimate of the fiscal deficit is 4.8% of the GDP.
There are two kinds of capex. One is the capex per se directly by the central government.
Yeah.
The secondly is the capex which goes from the central government first as a grant, as a revenue expenditure, and then it goes into for creation of assets at the hand of the states. So therefore, in the budget at a glance, in the statement itself, you have something called grant in creation of capital assets.
Right.
And this has been there for many years. And this number is actually 15.48 lakh crores. It's about 15.6 lakh crores. If you really see, there is a 10% growth on the RE numbers over, in this B for the capex.
Right.
But if you really count the two, it is 17% growth. The capex continues, and our effort will be on implementation of capex.
As far as Capex is concerned, again, something what I've been hearing.
A 10% increase.
But if you really see, we were just looking at the budget numbers. It's not only about 11.2 lakh crores which they mentioned. If you take the grants which are given to the states for capital purposes and the capital investment with the public sector, our estimate is the total Capex would amount to 19.8 lakh crores.
And budgetary allocation to the railways are flat at 2.55 lakh crore rupees. Minister Ashwini Vaishnav says the organisation will focus on improving safety, adding new lines and capacity expansion. He expects the railways to cross 1.6 billion tonnes in transported cargo in FY26. He's also aiming to hit an operational ratio of 98 to 98.5% without increasing passenger fares. Here's the railway minister and other top union ministers reacting to Budget 2025.
Total about 4,60,000 crore rupees worth projects have been included in the budget, which includes new lines, doubling, gauge conversion, completing the electrification, which is almost reaching 97% now. So in a sense, practically every aspect of railway will be benefited by the allocation on safety will increase from 1,14,000 crore. It will go up to 1,16,000 crore. And we'll also be achieving three major milestones in the coming months. First is we'll be crossing 1.6 billion tons of cargo.
Well, it's a very transformational budget. It's balanced, continuity is evident in the budget, but very strategic in its outlook. It has planned a vision very holistically. Now, the benefits given to the middle class. It straightaway results in money in the pocket of the middle class. I think it's a very, very big message that so far the government had focused on investment-led growth. Now we will have investment-led and consumption-led growth, which is how developed economies of the world have been created.
I would say in overall terms, it's an excellent budget. It's a budget whose impact in the short, medium and long term will be to spur and boost our journey to becoming a Viksit Bharat. This budget also seeks to boost the public-private partnership. It also seeks to provide overall momentum.
Well, various nodal ministers reacting to the budget and the allocations made for their ministries. No googly for investors, also no news. In fact, good news for the Lal Street. The Sensex and the Nifty finally closing flat after a volatile session. Remember, it's also a Saturday, so volumes on the lower side today. Consumption stocks rallied. FMCG and tourism were the biggest gainers on the back of the announcements that came in from the market. Stock market experts on the budget and what it means for the markets.
A lot of eyeballs and discussions is obviously pertaining to the income tax relief, and rightly so. You know, the government has given 1 lakh crore in the hands of crores of Indians, and that is a welcome step because, you know, I think the economy was suffering from low consumption, a combination of obviously maybe, less disposable income as well as tight liquidity situations. So the liquidity situation was eased off a little bit 3-4 days back when the central bank pumped in 1.5 lakh crore. And now this 1 lakh crore additional also has the potential of at least, kickstarting a little bit of a temporary blip in consumption.
Overall, it is positive for the market. As Madhu just pointed out, the most important thing to me is that there's a genuine intent and effort. It comes through very clearly to increase the ease of doing business. So it's directionally very positive. There's no material negative, snippets and negative, and there are hardly any on the negative side. Whereas on the ease of doing business, the underlying spirit of the budget is to simplify rather than to complicate things, which is often the problem with budgetary speeches.
I'm glad at last. For years, middle class has been waiting to see whether they get real relief. And I think moving the slabs up is really very, very good. I'm not sure I heard it right, but my sense was that the 30% slab applies only above 30 lakhs. But I may be wrong because
above 24. What we heard was 24 lakh.
Yeah. So I think at least up to 25 lakhs, it's serious relief. And she was computing the numbers and giving it to us. But overall, I would say from a middle class perspective, a fantastic budget, although corporates may be a little disappointed. There wasn't much that was at least spoken from a corporate tax perspective.
And poll-bound Bihar grabbing the limelight in the budget. The state will commission a slew of infrastructure and sector-specific projects and schemes aimed at boosting the state's economy. Santya decodes the Bihar budget kitty for us.
With Bihar getting for state assembly elections by the end of this year, there was a strong focus on the state in Budget 2025. FM Nirmala Sitharaman made key announcements pertaining to sectors like infrastructure and agriculture. The most significant announcement was the formation of a Makhana board, which will come up in the state. The FM said that this board will focus on and will enhance the overall production, quality and value addition and will provide help and assistance to Makhana farmers in the state. She also announced that a National Institute of Food Tech will come up in Bihar, which will promote entrepreneurship and will help farmers and will enhance the overall chain of food processing in the state. Infrastructure also got a boost when she announced that greenfield airports will come up in the state. And not just that, she also announced financial assistance to the Western Kosi Canal project in the state, which will impact Mithilanchal region. Bihar is an important state for BJP from the political point of view. Though the party is in power in the state with JDU, but it still aims to become the single largest party in the seat in the state. And this particular budget was actually an indicator of the ambitions BJP has in the state.
Santya, many thanks. A band-aid for a bullet injury. That is how Congress leader Rahul Gandhi described the budget. Reactions from opposition, starting with the former finance minister, Peter Amram.
There is nothing to cheer about the fact that the government has improved the fiscal deficit from the BE of 4.9% to the revised estimate of 4.8%. It was achieved at a huge cost to the economy. Those who did not believe us when we said that the economy is slowing down will, I hope, believe us now. Those who did not believe us that the capacity of the government to plan and implement schemes has diminished will, I hope, believe us now.
बिहार को लेकर फोकस रहा क्योंकि बिहार में चुनाव आने वाले हैं। बिहारी हर सोच रहा होगा कि हर साल चुनाव आए, हर साल हमारे लिए कुछ काम होगा। अगेन मैं रिपीट करूंगी, जो कहते हैं वो वादा पूरा करना भारतीय जनता पार्टी की ना नीति है ना नीयत है।
अब इस साल बिहार में चुनाव है, आंध्र प्रदेश में 4.5 साल कोई चुनाव है नहीं, तो सब कुछ बिहार के लिए किया गया। और जहां तक बंगाल का सवाल है, पिछले 10 सालों में जब से ये सरकार सत्ते में आई है, जब से बीजेपी सदन चला रहे, जब से सरकार बनाई है 2014 साल से आज तक कुछ नहीं मिला बंगाल को, और आज भी इस बजट में बंगाल के लिए कुछ नहीं है। ये दुखद है, अनफॉर्चुनेट है।
Well, the opposition with its take on the budget. But to sum it up, the government, the finance minister Nirmala Sitharaman, delivering on the 3 C's. The prioritization, though, this time around has changed. It is consumption over Capex and fiscal consolidation stays the course. No deviation there. There are lots of other announcements that have come in. Many are work in progress. Some are imminent, including the tax code, which will be tabled in Parliament in the week ahead, as per the Finance Minister. But there are many that will require much more work on the part of the government, including that big one, the big push on deregulation, the commission that will give its recommendations a year down the line. We are not done yet. Do keep tuning in to CNBC TV 18 as we analyze the budget for you. And of course, do remember to tune in to CNBC TV 18's budget verdict as we quiz the budget makers in the first interactive engagement with industry leaders on the 3rd of February. But for now, from all of us here, goodbye and many thanks for watching.